उधर N.D.P आगू जगमीत सिंह ਵੱਲੋਂ ਪੱਤਰਕਾਰਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਸੂਬੇ ਦੀ ਸਿਹਤ ਸੰਭਾਲ ਪ੍ਰਣਾਲੀ 'ਚ ਵਧੇਰੇ ਨਿਵੇਸ਼ ਕਰਕੇ ਸਿਹਤ ਸੰਭਾਲ ਕਰਮਚਾਰੀਆਂ ਦੀ ਸਹਾਇਤਾ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ ਐਲਾਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ। ਇਸ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਸਿਹਤ ਸੰਭਾਲ ਪ੍ਰਣਾਲੀ 'ਚ ਸੁਧਾਰ ਦੇਖਣ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲੇਗਾ। ਨਾਲ ਹੀ N.D.P ਆਗੂ ਜਗਮੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਯੂਕਰੇਨ ਤੇ ਰੂਸੀ ਹਮਲੇ ਅਤੇ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਫੌਜੀ ਖਰਚਿਆਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਵੀ ਚਰਚਾ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ।
What's been going on throughout the pandemic and before, our healthcare system has been underfunded chronically for decades. And as a result, healthcare workers have been put to the brink. I've heard countless stories from healthcare workers who are burnt out, who are exhausted, who are overworked. And despite that, they continue to provide care for their patients and they continue to provide care for our loved ones. But we need to be there for them. So we're calling on the federal government to stop the trend of underfunding healthcare, to increase funding, to properly fund our healthcare system. We've seen countless times in this pandemic that our healthcare system was at the brink of collapse. That should never be the case. That should never happen. And we know one of the reasons for our healthcare system being pushed into this point of peril is because it's been underfunded. So we need to see proper funding at the federal level, support our healthcare workers, invest in our healthcare, keep it public, keep it well-funded, and make sure if our loved ones need care, we don't have to worry about receiving the care that they need. And that's what we're here to talk about today, how we can help out these healthcare workers, how we can help out families, how we can invest in a publicly delivered healthcare system that's well-funded. And we've known that for decades, the federal government has not just not done its part, it's been cutting funding. That funding has been going down. And it's meant that provinces have been left to pick up the pieces. And as a result, our healthcare system has been underfunded. And we've heard from healthcare workers, they are feeling the brunt of this. They're overworked, they're exhausted, they're burnt out. And as Sarah said, many are leaving the profession that they love, that they spent their life training for and want to continue to serve in, but are unable to do so because they're so burnt out, PTSD and mental health. And we can fix this. The fix is properly funding our healthcare system. Properly funding it from the federal level will go a long way to making sure we have a properly funded healthcare system that's there for people when they need it. And so our healthcare workers are supported. With that, we're ready for any questions that the media might have. I want to again thank Sarah and Mark for being here. What we're seeing in Ukraine is a humanitarian crisis on a scale that we've not seen in our lifetime. The sheer violence, the amount of people displaced, tallies have it over 1.5 million people have left the country because they're fleeing war and the violence and the threat of death. So we need to do everything we can to support people in this crisis. It also reminds us of our responsibility to support refugees and people fleeing crisis around the world. But right now we know that two of the most important things we can do, welcome people that are leaving this war, that are seeking refuge and solace. And what we can do is make sure that that is for anyone leaving Ukraine, whether it's a student, whether it's someone that's not a Ukrainian citizen, anyone that's fleeing this war has to be welcomed in Canada. We need to step up and provide supports. We also need to provide humanitarian support to people on the ground.